looking at the muscles that move the arm, the radius and the ulna, so we're looking at muscles that move the forearm. First one up is going to be right here. This is going to be the biceps brachii muscle. Now, this biceps brachii muscle, bi meaning two, that means we have two origins for the biceps brachii. One origin for the short head is going to be the coracoid process. So in this view, you can see the coracoid process right here. The long head, though, is going to have an origin from the supraglenoid tubercle. But it also comes off of the lip of the glenoid cavity a little bit. Now, insertion-wise, this is going to run all the way down from the origins, all the way down into the forearm for the insertion. The insertion is going to be the radial tuberosity. Now, the action of the biceps brachii is going to be flexion of the elbow. Basically causes the forearm to flex towards the upper arm. But you also have a little bit of supination. So a little bit of supination of the forearm is helped with the biceps brachii. Its innervation is the musculocutaneous nerve. The musculocutaneous nerve. So this biceps brachii is located on the anterior side of the upper arm. But the biceps brachii has two other muscles that are synergistic or working together with it for flexion at the elbow. One muscle, let me turn this around, you can see a little bit in the back here. So anterior, this is posterior back here, but deep to the biceps brachii is the brachialis muscle. So this muscle back here is the brachialis muscle. Now the brachialis muscle is also going to help with flexion at the elbow. And the third muscle, the third of this synergistic pairing or synergistic grouping, is going to be your brachioradialis. Now just to change the view just a little bit, if you notice, this is our thumb side. This is the thumb right here. So the brachioradialis muscle is going to be running all the way down through here, brachioradialis muscle. And it also is going to be helping with forearm flexion. But now all three of these muscles, biceps brachii, brachialis, brachioradialis, are all going to work antagonistically against the triceps brachii muscle. So this muscle, biceps brachii, this muscle right here is the brachialis, and the posterior side right back here is going to be the triceps brachii. So if we turn this around like this, we're looking at the posterior side of the arm now. This posterior side is going to give us our triceps brachii. You can notice that this is the deltoid up here. This is teres major for orientation. This is going to be the medial border of the scapula. So our triceps brachii. The triceps brachii will originate, again, three heads. In the triceps brachii, we have the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. That's the long head. Infraglenoid tubercle, scapula. The lateral head is the posterior shaft of the humerus. But obviously we're looking more towards the proximal portion of the posterior shaft. And then the medial head is also the posterior shaft of the humerus, but it's distal to the radial groove, so it's a little bit more of a further aspect. So it's a little bit more down. So we have the triceps brachii. The triceps brachii, tri meaning three heads, so we have three origins. The long head is the infraglenoid tubercle. The lateral head is going to be the posterior shaft of the humerus. And then the medial head is also the posterior shaft of the humerus, but it's going to be the posterior shaft of the humerus distal to the radial groove. But even with all three origins, they're going to come down and insert into one insertion right down here, right near the elbow. This is actually the elbow right here. The insertion for the triceps brachii is the olecranon. So we're looking at the olecranon of the ulna, or olecranon process. Now, as far as actions go, the triceps brachii is going to be a forearm extensor. So it can cause extension at the elbow, forearm extensor. And the innervation is the radial nerve. So innervation is the radial nerve. Now if we stay in the region of the elbow, we just turn this a little bit. So again, we're back on a view now, more of the anterior side. So here is our biceps brachii. This is our brachioradialis. This muscle right here, you can see how it's diving deep under the brachioradialis. So if we take off the brachioradialis, you can notice this muscle coming down and all the way over to here. This is going to be your pronator teres. The pronator teres muscle, its action is pronation of the forearm. So pronator teres, like it sounds, is pronation of the forearm. Moving from the pronator teres, there is a second muscle that is synergistic. It'll help with pronation. So if we slide this over a little bit, we can now see down in the wrist, we're going to notice that right here, there's a very deep muscle underneath here. So it's under these tendons, under this muscle right here. It's a very deep muscle called the Pronator quadratus. Now the Pronator quadratus has the muscle fibers running from radius and ulna back and forth. It's running across the wrist. This is going to allow for pronation of the forearm also. Pronator quadratus.
And here is just a different view of the pronator quadratus. If you're looking right here in this figure, you can see how the deep muscle is running between the radius and the ulna. So here's the radius, moving over to the ulna here. So the pronator quadratus.
And if we go back up into the elbow region again, now that we move back up into the elbow, this muscle again is your pronator teres. We have our biceps brachii. And remember, we've removed the brachioradialis from here. This muscle that is right on this side, we're on the radial side, this muscle is going to be the supinator muscle. The supinator is going to have an action of supination of the forearm, the supinator muscle. That means it's working antagonistically to the pronator teres, and then down the wrist, the pronator quadratus.
The last muscle to cover in this group is going to be the anconeus muscle. This muscle right here is the anconeus muscle. Now to help with a little orientation, this muscle right here is the supinator muscle. So we're on the posterior side of the arm, right at the elbow. This anconeus muscle is going to have an action that controls ulnar abduction, so abduction, during forearm pronation. I'm trying to think of what is that? Well, ulnar abduction, you're taking the ulna and moving it away from the center line, away from the body. Well, that occurs as you go through pronation of the forearm. That takes the ulna, which is on the fifth digit side, and it will be pulled away from the body as the radius comes closer to the midline at the wrist. So the anconeus muscle controlling ulnar abduction during forearm pronation.